Today, Ilya Taporia tells Max Holloway to keep that same BMF energy if they fight. And what about Michael Chandler as he says he wants his fight with Conor to be bigger than Khabib's? Also, Kayla Harrison is calling for an interim bantamweight title shot in June. All of these current events and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. Right back with it. It's your boy Matt. We back in the house. We're going to go over a few current events going down this week. There is no UFC fight card this weekend. There's Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia going on in boxing, but not much of anything going on in MMA. There's also Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal coming up soon. But let's start out with, at the top of the show, Ilya Taporia goes on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani and drops some jewels. I'm talking about homie was dropping some gems. He goes on there, he's asked about Max Holloway and asked about the BMF fight with Justin Gaethje, in which he basically called both men novices. He basically said that he didn't see a lot of technique in what either man was doing, and he didn't see a ton of skill. To him, it looked like a bar fight. Okay. Ilya going in. So Ilya then goes on to say that he most definitely wants to fight Max Holloway next. He's not sure where the fight will take place because he still wants to fight in Spain, but he's not sure if the UFC is going to be able to set that up for this year. So he is saying that his next fight, he's calling for a fight with Max Holloway. And he actually said to Max Holloway, keep that same energy that you had the last 10 seconds of the fight, but bring it at the beginning of the fight. And he then went on to say, we can bang. Look. In a lot of other circles, in a lot of other walks of life, when another man walks up to another man and tells him we can bang, it means something totally different. But in mixed martial arts, when a man tells another man, hey, we can stand and we can bang, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ilya Taporia, because Ilya Taporia had so much disdain for Max Holloway. You know what I'm saying? And as well as Justin Gaethje. And the confidence that this man possesses is frightening, because the way he's talking about this fight, the way he talks about that he's a more well-rounded fighter, and Max wouldn't be able to go in there, stand there and pot shot him. He's well-rounded in the wrestling, in the grappling, in the submission game, and in the stand-up. He told Max Holloway, we can stand and I can knock you out, or I can take you down and I can submit you. I can do anything that I want to do with you. That's the makings of a good fight. You know what I'm talking about? And he also said that he wants the BMF championship to be on the line because he wants that belt as well. He said that belt interests him. If he doesn't, he actually went on to tell Ariel that the BMF championship is not on the line. He's not really interested in fighting Max because he already tried to fight Max, and he's claiming that the UFC turned that fight down because they wanted to save Max for Justin Gaethje at UFC 300. All of this is shocking. Shocking in the confidence, shocking in the disdain that he has for Max Holloway and his skills. He wants the BMF championship. All of this, to me, it's the makings for a hell of a featherweight fight. You know what I'm talking about? For the championship. And for the BMF championship. And I definitely do think that Ilya Taporia, based out of his confidence alone and how he carries himself and his style of fighting, he definitely could contend for the BMF championship. So this most definitely is a fight that I know I'm not in the minority, that we all are trying to see right now. You know what I'm saying? We try, put that in my veins. Put that Ilya Taporia versus Max Holloway right in my veins. Let me lean back in my chair. I mean, bro, This is what I'm talking about. This should be an outstanding fight if the UFC eventually makes this fight. Because as we know, Max Holloway is saying he has a lot of options. So he's got a couple of fights he could do at 155, but as well as he has the championship fight pretty much waiting for him at 145. I would say when you're talking about Max Holloway, it depends on if he wants to make that weight cut again, because he was definitely looking rejuvenated, so to speak, at 155 pounds. So we shall see if they will end up making that fight. Let's move on from that. We're going to move over to Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison was interviewed by Ariel Helwani earlier this week, in which she was talking about that she heard that Raquel Pennington is claiming that she is injured now and won't be defending her championship anytime soon, or at least not in the upcoming months. So with that being said, Kayla Harrison is now calling for an interim bantamweight championship fight against whoever, more than likely Juliana Pena, but against whoever this summer in June, because she said she wants her next fight to be for the championship. Basically, she wants to go out there, beat the brakes off Juliana, win the belt, and then she can fight Raquel Pennington later on this year to go ahead and unify the 135-pound championship. I don't know if the UFC is going to do this, although I know that the UFC would want to do this. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Raquel Pennington is a pretty good fighter. She's been around in the division for a long time, but she doesn't really bring a lot of star power at all. Pretty much no star power. I mean, she's a name that maybe, barely a casual might have heard before, but they're not even going to recognize her. So with that being said, there's not a lot of cachet, tremendous word for a dude from Louisville, with Raquel holding that belt. So with that being said, I could definitely see the UFC wanting to make an interim championship fight and throwing Kayla in there, because at the end of the day, bro, the UFC just wants a champion at 135 pounds that's going to move the needle somewhat. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be necessarily a star, but they at least want you to be recognizable. You know, they want you to sell a fight. Juliana will sell a fight, but Juliana, you know, she'll go and get in there, she'll talk a good game, she'll sell a fight, but her style of selling the fight is more pro wrestling. So a little bit of Chael Sonnen. There's going to be a lot of made up, you know, stretching the truth type things that are going to be said to sell a fight. Whereas Kayla sells a fight based out of her skills, her track record in the Olympics, what she did in the PFL, if you count that. And that's what she sells the fight based out of confidence. So I could definitely see a fight between her and Juliana, not doing big numbers, but I don't know if it would main event or be a co-main event of a show, but I definitely think that would bring something to it. Whereas if Kayla goes out there to fight Raquel Pennington, Raquel's not bringing anything to the table because she's not really going to try to talk to sell the fight. And when she does, it's, you know, you can tell she's uncomfortable trash talking, so it doesn't quite do the same. Nevertheless, I could definitely see the UFC going ahead and trying to sign that. We'll see if that's going to happen. Let's move on. Let's move over to Michael Chandler. Iron Michael Chandler. Bro, Michael Chandler out here talk. I mean, look, bro, I'm just going to keep it quick. I'm going to keep it brief. Michael Chandler, to me, is just he's just a weird little dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, Michael Chandler, he's just a strange guy because he's so squeaky clean. He's so nice. He's so clean cut. And I don't, you know, if he goes out there and he waxes Conor and he makes all that money, good on him. His play worked. You know what I'm saying? His play that he implemented about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, worked. He made a lot of money for his family. Maybe he rides off into the sunset. But at the same time, Conor's made this man sit out so long that he's been inactive. You know what I'm saying? He ain't been in the octagon just like Conor hasn't been in the octagon. And his strings have been pulled so many times. And sometimes he's out there, he's saying things that I really think he believes, but he just sounds goofy saying them. For example, he's now going around saying that he believes that he can make this fight with Conor be as big, or he wants it to be bigger than the fight with Khabib. Stop, little bro. Stop, little bro. Nobody's believing in you the way they believed in Khabib, all right? You don't hold, I'm going to use it again. You don't hold the same cachet as Khabib did. So quit, little bro. Quit going around here talking like, I mean, yeah, if you want to strive for that, if you want to shoot for that, that's all cool. That's gravy. It's all gravy, baby. But what I'm saying is man, he almost sounded a little delusional with it, but when you're dealing with Michael Chandler, he's so sweet, syrupy, nice, you know what I'm saying, that he just comes off as fake, either way. And personally, I'm not a big Conor fan, but literally, it would make my teeth white if Conor McGregor went out there and waxed Michael Chandler. That would be hilarious. If he made the dude sit out for like 3 years, went inactive in the years of his career where he should be going out there contending, trying to get another crack at the belt. If he goes out there and loses to Conor, that would be the funniest ish I have seen. Let's move on from there. Yan Xiaonan, nothing big here, but she was on the MMA Hour. She was talking with Ariel. He asked her if she was given smelling salts in the middle of, I believe it was in between round 1 and 2, where she pretty much went out, or she was out, due to the choke by Zhang Wei Li. She goes to her corner. Joe Rogan even brought up, it was believed that one of the cornermen mentioned, do you want me to wake her up? And the next thing you know, she was revived. They're not really sure what happened. I believe she was telling Ariel that it was ice or something they put around her nose. I don't know. I don't know if the woman used smelling salts or not. I really don't know. I don't really think it's a point that needs to be beaten out, but that's how Ariel gonna do it, because she lost the fight either way it goes. So it's kind of like whatever. But she's saying that that's not what she was given. She wasn't revived by any sort of smelling salts. So there you go. Saltgate might be able to be extinguished for a little while. Last thing I wanted to talk about, Nate Diaz, the pride of Stockton, California, will step into a boxing ring with Jorge Masvidal. Man, I don't really know what it is, but this fight just is not really hitting for me. I'm not sure if it's hitting for everybody else. From what I see social media-wise, it doesn't really seem to dominate social media, and that's usually a gauge on how well the fight is going to be. I feel like, both men don't really have that star power that they packed while they were in the UFC. Definitely, for sure, Jorge has lost pretty much the majority of all his star power based out of all of his major losses he took at the end of his career in the UFC. So he definitely don't have it. I mean, it was gone when he lost to Kobe. I mean, it was gone before then, but definitely it was completely gone when he lost to Kobe. Then, shout out to Gilbert Burns, goes out there, does his thing against him as well. He was already coming off a loss from Kamaru Usman. I mean, he lost a lot of people. So with that being said, it's like, I just don't see either one of these men. They don't pack that star power like they used to have. I know Nate's coming off of the Jake Paul fight, but still, it just feels like if this fight could have happened like 4 years ago, 5 years ago in the UFC, it would have broke the bank. Like 5 years ago, it would have broke the bank. And I know they already fought once. They were the original, the innovators of the BMF championship fight. It was a big fight that time. I kind of feel like Nate was going into that fight with some injuries that he wasn't talking about. Wasn't the best showing by Nate. The fight was stopped early due to cuts. Nevertheless, I just don't really feel the oomph. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel the oomph of this fight. So, I don't know. I see that they've been doing press conferences and things all week, media day, but I just don't really see it. So we'll see as we inch a little bit closer to that fight if anything changes. But at this time, it just doesn't really seem like it's capturing the public. So, nevertheless, that's just some of the little current events going on this week. Even though we're coming off of UFC 300, somewhat of a quiet week because there's no show, no card this Saturday. Nevertheless, just wanted to drop in, touch base with you guys, let you know what's going on. And please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Who do you got in the fight between Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway? You know what I'm saying? Ilia's got all the confidence in the world. Max Holloway's coming off of one of his best showings in a long time in his career, beating Justin Gaethje. So let me know what you think about that fight. Let me know, do you care? Are you excited at all for Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz? Let me know. You know, once again, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA, and I check you next time. Peace.